How's it going, traders? Papa Wall Street back with another focus list video. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Obviously, the market has been in pullback mode. So before we go into the focus list, just wanted to talk a couple of minutes about the indices. So, right now we see kind of a topping here, a topping here. This one pulled back 4% in 3 weeks. This one pulled back 9% in 3 weeks. And then this bounce here turned in a 16% move in just about 2 weeks. So what we're looking at here, and I talked about this over the last couple of weeks, is the island reversal here and then a double swing failure. So if we measure this out, this was 4% in 1 week, and this was about, I think it was around 5%. Yeah, around 5% in 1 week. What I'd be watching for next week. So the caveat with next week is Thanksgiving's on Thursday. Obviously, market's closed. Wednesday and Friday tend to be pretty low volume days. So any bounces that we see in the general market, for me personally, I would be looking to short them. I'm not necessarily looking to buy dips here, mainly because you saw, like a 3-day rally here before the reversal back to the downside. Now, obviously, if we get back over this high here, like around 685, then that's a different story. And even, over this around 672, 673, I think you have, maybe another 1 to 2% to the upside. But, pretty much every bounce so far has been sold. So here, this bounce sold off. This bounce sold off. And now Friday we had the bounce. So again, it's a really tough environment, and we shouldn't just be buying random dips or dollar cost averaging or anything like that right now. I think it's time just to be a little patient, and we could just take a quick peek at the cues. It's pretty much the same story, right? Double swing, island reversal into a double swing failure. This one came into the June low anchored VWAP, and you can see we had a bit of support here, here, and here, where we saw bounce, 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 and again support here, and maybe again we get a bounce. So again, if we get a bounce next week, it could be an opportunity to short the market back down. Hard to say where we're going from here. So what that brings me to are the 10 names that I'm going to be focused on for next week. And these are just relative strength names. These are names that have been under the radar, kind of, just showing relative strength to the overall market. Right now, AbbVie, the one thing I noticed after I posted the chart this afternoon is this a potential 5-wave move up here, right? So here's your wave 1, here's your ABC wave 2, here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is potentially wave 5 of 3 here. So keep a close eye. We have this bull flag breakout. I think any back test between 232 and 234 is buyable right here. So if we get like a break, a back test, and then a bounce, you could buy the back test, I think, using a stop under this low here. Your first target is going to be 244 on the prior high. Second target is going to be between 251 and 253. Your third target is going to be at 265, and then your stretch target would be somewhere between 270 and 278. All right, next one is CL. So this is Colgate. Very boring name. It's just kind of the nature of the market. When you see tech pulling back, tends to rotate into very safe and boring names. So on Colgate, you've got an inverse head and shoulders breakout coming into the swing high anchored VWAP here. You can see that acted as resistance back here and here. I'm expecting resistance again here. I would watch for a pullback to $80, and then you could buy the dips here. And then if we get a back test of 82 at the anchored VWAP and then get the break, you could add more here. 84, 86 would be the 618. It's probably your targets to the upside. Stretch targets 89, 94 to the upside. Next one up is not a new name for us, We've been talking about COM for a little bit. Built a position in shares in this range right here. I'm still holding, gave me no reason to sell. Squeeze fired, but didn't get that momentum to the upside. We're just consolidating within a wedge here. So just want to see us hold this anchored VWAP here in green over $16. And I'm just looking for a move, a stair-step move up to around $20 to $22. All right, next one up is new for this week. This is comp or compass. So potential cup and high handle here. And we did get that range breakout over $9.70 on Friday. I'd be looking for a back test of that level, right? Acted as resistance here, resistance here. I want to see, can we flip it to support and then get the bounce, targeting 1077, 1184, and then potentially 13 for your stretch target. Another new one for this week, ELMD. So this one was a power earnings gap back on earnings here, and went right up to 2668, which was the 50% retrace, pulled back to the swing high anchored VWAP, and kind of just chopped around, which is what you would expect under the VWAPs and the power earnings gap. And you could see had another test at 2668. So for this, I would be buying dips between 24 and 25. And if you can get a break over 26, I would add more here. And then 28.73 would be your first target to the upside. 31.77 and then 35.38 would be your final target to the upside. This one looks actually really good. It has a nice multi-month squeeze from September through October into November. So if this goes, this can have a really strong move. Again, 618 is always a tough price target to break, but once you do, 31 as mentioned, 35 stretch target to the upside. All right, another new, not new one for this week, another review of GCT. This is GigaCloud Technologies. So mapped this one out a while back, wave 1, wave 2. Here's your wave 3, signature gap up in wave 3. Actually, this is wave 3 of 3, beautiful. Right into a triangle 4, which is what you want to see. 1-2 setup of wave 5. Looks like wave 3 of 5 got started on Friday. 36, 40 are your upside targets and potential wave target between 40 and 43. All right, next one up, not a new one, but certainly relative strength. Google, another one, 1-2 setup with another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially in wave 3. If we get this move up to 309 to 324, which is what I've been forecasting for a couple of weeks now, this could be your wave 3 top. And then I would watch for a pullback, somewhere in this range here for your final start of wave 5. But that's probably going to take, months to transform and to come into play. All right, next one is GRAL. This is Grail. And it's a name I talked about a while back. I think it was, earlier in the year, January, February. I had a big pullback, bounce, lower high, another pullback, bounce, lower high, and looks like cup and handle. That broke out back in September, had a nice move up. I could be looking at, maybe a 1, 2, 3 setup with a wave 4 here, right? Broke out on Friday. Watch for dips between 90 and 92. Maybe as low as 83 to 85, and I think that's buyable for a target of 100 to 108, and then maybe as high as, forgot to put this in, as high as 121, maybe a stretch target of 132 to the upside. All right, we got 2 more left. Next one is iron, IRON. This is Disc Medicine, and you've got a low tight flag. Right, so not quite high tight. High tight, we're looking at 80 to 100%. This is only 64. So I think between 50 and 75, 80%, more in that low tight. But I treat it like a high tight, right? You look for the consolidation between 83 and 90. We look for low volume inside days after 2 weeks. Never really got a low volume inside day. But it did break out on Thursday, continuation on Friday, held over 90. I think dips are buyable in the 85 to 87 range here. And your first target's 99, basically $100. Your second target's 104 to 105, and your stretch target's going to be around 110. All right, and last but certainly not least is TMDX. Now this is a name I've talked about in the past, and I'm looking at potential completion of a wave 4. So here's your 1 ABC wave 2. Here is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at the gap in wave 3. Here's your complex triangle wave 4, A, B, C, D, E. Here's your 1, 2 setup in wave 5. Looks really good. And for me, I'd be buying anywhere between 120 and 132, and 144 would be your first upside target. And then what we'd be looking for in terms of additional upside targets would be 158, 174, and then a stretch target to 192. And if we look at the prior high, how does that align with prior highs? Well, actually it aligns right with the 1618 here. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble. There we go. So I think this is probably your final target before we see a little bit of a pullback. So 174 to 176. So that's the focus list for this week. It's going to be a very light trading week for me. Not going to be around Tuesday and Wednesday. Just going to be spending the week with family, but I will be available periodically for questions, comments, and chart requests. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like I said, it's going to be a low volume week with the holiday and Thursday being off. And I think following the following week, I think we start December. And what I'd be looking for is base consolidation, setting up in early December for a potential Santa rally into the end of the year. So yeah, I mean, it's been a really great year. Don't try and force trades here. Let's try and finish the year out strong, and then see how we're setting up for next year. All right, take care, everybody. Enjoy your holiday week, and I'll be back with you next week. Take care.